Hello friends, in this episode I would like to share some information with you regarding the website localization. Website localization on the budget. What is this? How it's getting done? Let's go over the main points and get to the bottom of it. When you look at the budgeted localization, the factor of money and the easiness on how to get it translated is playing a big role. And we at Translation Cloud, working with over the course of many years, to be precise over 15 years, have been having all different cases ranging from simple website localization and translation to a complex dynamic localization. If you're a business owner and you're contemplating different options, first of all, you need to decide and determine what is the source technology for your website. Is it plain HTML? Is it the server-side language such as PHP, Python, or JavaScript? Is it the CMS, which is a content management system? Is it WordPress, Drupal, or Joomla, to mention the most common ones? Or is it just a combination, so-called the framework? The most popular frameworks on the market right now are Cake PHP, CodeIgniter, Laravel, and Django for Python. So in this particular table, we nailed down 5 different options which our clients most commonly have. First one is the JavaScript Snippet. It's the technology which is a very low tech. You have to copy and paste the small snippet of code which is written in JavaScript, install directly to your template, to your website, or the web page where you want this language button to appear, and this option will plug in the machine translator, which translates the page on the fly, on demand, and will give you the machine result. In this column, we present the quality parameters. And obviously the first choice, if it's involved machine translation, even though they grew up in quality lately and then neural networks had appeared, which made the computer chess program, for example, winning the long-established open-source competitor. The neural networks are also being penetrated in the language, but their quality are still low. We as a linguists, where we deal with many complex and high-demand situations, we still insist that the machine quality is still insufficient. But on the good side, let's take a look at the next column, which is speed. This parameter we consider fast. This is extremely fast approach because the machine and JavaScript are being taken care of it on the fly. That's the key word. And the translation is being populated through the machine, not through human, and it's also very fast. The price-wise, it's free. Currently, such big players on the market such as Google Translate, Bing, and Yandex, to name the top 3, are not charging anything for their website snippet. However, there's a drawback, and which is a very significant drawback. The search engine optimization capability is insufficient. Since the pages are being created on demand, on the fly, there is no possibility to cache them in a browser or they cache them in a database. And therefore, search engines such as Google or Bing, they cannot discover your content in a foreign language, and therefore they cannot benefit from this. So this is not the way to get more search engine traffic, and therefore if you're in a business of e-commerce, you're selling your goods, your widgets, your services online, you will get stuck with this solution as insufficient. But here are other options, luckily for you. And the second option I would go over is called the combination of PHP and JavaScript. Therefore, the memory component. If the first script didn't have the memory capacity for translation memory for subsequent editing, when we plug in with a PHP or some sort of database to serve as the memory, This method becomes a pretty viable alternative, since the script creates the subfolder where the translation is being stored at, and the search engines are being able to index it and bring more traffic to these pages. So the quality is considered high, since we, the linguists, can go back and forth we can work back and forth with this content, and we can polish it and polish it and polish it, and it will become really good later on. So the quality is high. The speed is moderate, because this is the combined approach. The first iteration we do with the machine translation. We get the first result fast with the machine translator, but the subsequent combination of bringing the fully fledged experienced linguists, they are slower, since the humans have to go and consult the dictionaries. They have to go on a specific industry sources where they can apply the best knowledge, especially if your content is technical or medical or even legal. And if you combine fast and slow, you get the result as a moderate speed. Overall, your website will be translated at a moderate speed. Price-wise, it's almost free, because you only pay for the technology. If it's pay as you go, you might even start at the free tier, which is a freemium solution. And as your as your resources grow, as your demands and your traffic grow, and you get more sales online, you grow more confident, and you upgrade to a higher tier to offer more options to your users and employ better translators. So it's only $1 sign. Localization component, yes, you can localize your website. You can make translated versions very distinctly different. You can add and delete pages as you wish. It is search engine friendly. And the example I would give you is conveythis.com. This is the website that's been offering this hybrid solution for quite some time. And the third option we're going to consider is the JavaScript proxy. This is some kind of interlayer intermediary between your website and the translation. For example, it works as the same way as the JavaScript. It's something like a snippet you install on your web page, but in reality, what this JavaScript does, it creates the PHP version of your web page, HTML read-only version of your web page, and stores it elsewhere on some sort of other web host, not yours, not your local IP. It could be your other host provider, or most likely the language service provider which offers this service, the JavaScript proxy. The quality we deem is low, since it's also closely tied with the machine translation and customizability. The speed is fast. It's a quick way to get things done. Price, it's moderate, pretty affordable. Localization component is no, it's not localizable. SEO is yes, it's spiderable, and therefore search engines could bring more traffic to your web pages. And the example we could offer is EasyLink. We're not affiliated with this service, but we've been approached by them several times, and we understand how their business model works, and therefore are bringing them as an example in this particular case. The fourth option is relatively common. It's been with us since the beginning of the internet, the FTP, File Transfer Protocol. Using this protocol is very common among the webmasters who need to upload their websites, the source websites, to the server. As you know, your web browser can only understand three technologies, which is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. But the rest, such as server-side language, such as PHP, Python, or even ASP, they all require additional software on the side of the server to be able to compile the code and make it an executable file. So the FTP allows us a very deep approach to website translation and localization. But this is not the most budgeted option, since, as you know, you've been doing very hard to translate your website, and even to build your website from the scratch, you hired a freelancer, or you probably had your own IT staff on premises who built the stuff. So having this additional language parameters will essentially double your internal time and your internal costs, because you're dealing with the raw files, which you need to manually somehow extract the source language, the source files, HTML tags, CSS, JavaScript. So your freelancer has to be pretty technical person, or if they're not, your IT guy should do a lot of monkey type of work by doing copy and pasting the source strings from one thing to another. Quality turns out to be high, since it's a very labor-intense manual type of work. The speed is traditionally very slow. The price is very expensive, especially if you're a US company working locally with the US market, employing local US workforce. Your IT costs would be very, very sensible. So this is an expensive approach. But localization is yes. So if you are serious about business and growing it, search engine optimization also good, because this is our completely localized pages. They are stored on your server. They could be either on subdomains or total different URLs or new purchased domain URLs. So this is the way to go if you want to go really high tech and you know what you're doing. These customers go to Translation Cloud. This is the company has been around for quite some time. They've been doing this with FTP. The clients grant them access to the server, and the company works with them in the way the consultant does. They instruct your firm how to get it done faster, how to get it done better, how to avoid the problems down the road. In a similar way, when you get sick, you go to the doctor. You might go to the pharmacy directly and purchase over-the-counter drug, but you are taking all the risks by being ignorant and not being able to give yourself a right diagnosis. So instead of taking chances, you go to the doctor. The doctor looks at your situation. He takes your measurements. He takes your temperature. He takes your existing conditions and gives you the right drug. So this is a consultant type of business, and Translation Cloud does just that. When your business grows up significantly to the next level, and you don't deem it important to do it yourself in-house, many companies do, like Facebook, like Twitter, did their own localization tool to crowdsource it among its own peers. But these are unicorns companies. There have been only few of them in the market, less than 1% of the market. And what to do with the remaining 99% of these companies? If your firm is not the Facebook, if your firm is not YouTube or Twitter, obviously you have to look elsewhere. And the best way to bring your product to market is to give it to the right professionals to get it done right. The final approach is why I put the star to this, because it's one of the easiest ones to implement. This is the Excel. Working with the Excel file. You all have one version of the Office software, is either on a Mac or PC or even Linux. The spreadsheets are very common. They are ubiquitous. And this approach allows decision makers to employ an assistant, to employ a person with a low level of technical skills, to extract the content which is necessary for your website, save it in Excel file. Basically, it's a column approach. Column A, let's say, a source language when you do it side-by-side translation, and a column B, C, D are all the other languages which you want to be translated to, either Spanish, French, German, Japanese, and so on. So later on, when you send this spreadsheet to a professional, they would copy and paste the translation into a foreign language, and then when they get back the translation, the Excel file, your assistant or your webmaster creates those additional pages which are being then uploaded on the website. The quality is excellent since you're working, in this case, again with the translation agency, and they offer 30 days money back guarantee. They offer quality assurance. They are members of all these translator associations such as ATA, TAS, and you name it. And they're on the business of actually conveying the world's information. So they stand by their product. The speed is low since this spreadsheet acts as the intermediary. It's an intermediary level. You have to first bring everything into a spreadsheet, and then you have to have somebody bring everything back to the website. Another minor drawback is that if your web page changes, right, you update your content, maybe you move the offices, you shuffle your personnel, the old content might get outdated. Therefore, you need to keep track of all the changes and make sure that the translation stays up to date. So it's a little bit tricky. But localization component is, yes, it's highly localizable. Search engine component, yes, it's very targeted towards the search engines and local SEO. And the example is Translation Services USA. This is translation agency. So to wrap up the presentation, I would like to highlight two winners on the budget. If you are contemplating to translate your website, you don't know how to get started, and you don't have enough resources to throw around and experiment with lots of options, I would go first with the option 1, which is Convey this plugin. It's a plugin for all sorts of content management systems such as WordPress, Joomla, Drupal, PHP frameworks, even the Shopify and e-commerce store and BigCommerce, you name it. Everything is customizable through this approach. It's a freemium approach. You don't pay anything down unless you grow and you really need more resources to employ. And the second option, which is on the budget but a bit pricier, is going through the translation agency. They are the professionals. They're like a doctors in this medical industry. They are the doctors for the language industry. They are the professionals, and this industry specialists. They understand the process of translation. They understand the process of communicating between you, customer, and the agency. They are employing best translators on the market, and they also understand all the intricacies of transcreation, localization, and product testing. So when you deploy your product online, they can even test this out for you to make sure the translation carries out the right meaning and that your target audience would not be offended by that translation. Therefore comes the demand for the professionals. First way is do it sort of on your own. Second way, you're being guided by the consulting firm to make sure everything is being carried out sufficiently well for you and you succeed as a brand. This is it. I would like to conclude my presentation. Thank you so much for watching this introductory video on budget translation. I hope you made you carried out a lot of useful information. And if you like this video, please give it some likes, subscribe to our channel, wait for our new updates, and stay tuned. My name is Alex. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.